spend some time talking today. This is Bridget McGowan of BMEC Talks, and we are going to spend some time today on a very important tip. I am going to tell you the number one reason presentations can fail before you even speak. Can you imagine that happening? Yes, it is possible for your presentation to completely, I won't say completely bomb, but it is possible for your presentation to take something of a nosedive before you even open your mouth. And this is how it happens. If you think about the last presentation you attended and think about what the presenter did, what did the organizer do, and I want you to think about what you heard. What were some of the first words you heard? And those first words usually were something of a bio. Usually there is a coordinator or an organizer of the event who will insist on reading a bio. Now, this is how presentations immediately fail before you even open your mouth as a presenter, because the audience is sitting there listening to the reading of a bio, or maybe they are sitting there listening to some highlights about the presenter, or something about the presenter's background, or a little bit of information on the presenter's career and things of that nature. And I want you to think back, sitting in the audience listening to that coordinator or that person who's introducing the speaker, reading that bio, reading the list of accomplishments, whatever the case was. Where was your mind? You weren't even tuned in to what was being said. You weren't even listening to that bio. Because let's be honest, 9 times out of 10, you had already done some research on the presenter before you got there. Or you could just easily Google the person right there on the spot. So when those coordinators insist on reading a bio and then they actually read it and introduce you as a speaker, the audience is immediately disengaged, immediately turned off, because they're really not interested in what you can do until you show through your words, through your speech, that you can help them with the work they do. So that is the number one way to create an epic fail. I shouldn't say epic fail. That is so dramatic of me. But that is the number one way to cause your presentation to immediately fail before you even take the stage. Now, you may say, well, Bridget, what do you do in instances where you have a coordinator or you have whomever who insists on reading a bio or a list of accomplishments because that person insists on establishing your credibility? Well, number one, I'm going to tell you right now, the reading of a bio of a presenter is not how you establish a person's credibility. It is not. I'll tell you in another segment about how you establish your credibility and how you do it in a solid way. But the reading of a bio, that does not establish credibility. But back to the initial point. Bridget, what do you do if someone insists on that bio being read? Insists on using some introduction for you? This is what you do. What has that coordinator done beforehand? He or she has likely reached out and asked you for a bio, right? That doesn't mean you have to give some long 2-page or a tome of a bio. You don't have to do that. What I recommend you do is keep in your arsenal a couple of different versions of bios. And in this instance, when someone wants one to introduce you, I recommend that you provide that person with a 1 to 2 sentence, punchy, clear, succinct, to the point introduction of yourself. There's a very specific way to write that 1 to 2 sentence introduction or write that 1 to 2 sentence bio. You can do that. We'll talk about that at some other point. But I'm telling you right now, in order to keep your presentations from automatically failing before you even take the stage, you take control of that bio, you take control of the first words that comes out of that introducer's mouth, and you change the pattern of what your audience expects. Remember, I asked you to think about the last presentation you attended, where there was a formal presentation. Maybe it was something for a local organization in your community. Maybe it was something at work. How did they start that presentation? I want you to flip the script and do something different And that way, it keeps your presentation from failing before you even get it underway. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bridget McGowan of BMEC Talks.